What would happen if you just stopped? No blue liquids, no synthetic granules, no miracle powders. If you stopped fertilizing your garden for exactly 30 days, what do you think you'd see? Most gardeners would panic at the thought. We've been told that plants are helpless without us. We've been conditioned to believe that we are the life support system and the fertilizer bag is the oxygen tank. But here is a truth that might make you uncomfortable. Sometimes we don't fertilize because the plant needs it. We fertilize because we are afraid. We are afraid of what the soil might look like if we stopped covering up its flaws. In the next 30 days, your garden is going to stop being a project and start being a mirror. It is going to tell you the truth about your soil's health, your plant's resilience, and your own philosophy as a grower. Today, we aren't just talking about gardening. We're talking about an intervention. We're going to peel back the chemical curtain and listen to what the earth has to say when it's finally allowed to speak for itself. The hidden dependency. What are we masking? Before we start the clock on day one, we have to talk about why we're so hooked on the bottle. Modern gardening has become a cycle of rescue and react. We see a yellow leaf, we pour nitrogen. We see a slow-growing fruit, we dump potassium. Over time, this creates a dangerous dependency. When you provide constant, readily available synthetic nutrients, your plants become lazy. Why would a tomato plant spend energy growing deep, complex root systems to find minerals when you're hand-delivering them to the surface every Saturday? Why would the soil microbes work to break down organic matter when the plant is already gorged on liquid salts? The truth is, high-intensity fertilizing is often like taking painkillers for a broken leg without ever setting the bone. It masks the symptoms of poor soil structure and dead biology. It makes the garden look green on the outside while the ecosystem on the inside is essentially on life support. When the soil loses its ability to cycle nutrients naturally, it becomes a dirt container rather than a living organism. By stopping for 30 days, we aren't trying to starve our plants. We're trying to check their pulse. We're giving the microbes a chance to wake up and the plants a chance to remember how to be wild. The protocol. What stopping really means. Now let's be clear about the rules of this 30-day experiment. This isn't about neglect, it's about observation. What we are cutting out. Synthetic fertilizers. Anything with an NPK label that comes in a bottle or a bag. High-potency organic teas. Even heavy doses of compost tea or fish emulsion. We want to see what the soil can provide on its own. What we are still doing, watering. You must maintain consistent moisture. The goal isn't to wilt the plants through thirst, but to see if they can eat without being spoon-fed. Mulching. You can and should keep the soil covered with leaves, straw, or wood chips. This is the slow food for the soil. Stability. We aren't tilling. We aren't digging. We are leaving the soil's house intact so the residents, the fungi and bacteria, can get back to work. We are essentially moving the garden from an IV drip to a natural diet. The 30-day chronicles, what the soil reveals. Week 1, the illusion of normality. In the first 7 days, you probably won't see a thing. The plants are still running on the residual nutrients stored in their tissues and the top layer of the soil. But beneath the surface, the chemistry is shifting. The salt levels from previous fertilizers begin to leach away or settle. The plant realizes the free lunch hasn't arrived. It starts sending chemical signals, carbon-rich exudates out through its roots. It's essentially putting out a help-wanted ad for the local bacteria and fungi. If your soil is healthy, the local microbes respond immediately. If your soil is dead, the plant starts to feel very lonely. Week 2, the stress test. This is where the first secrets come out. By day 14, you'll start to see the true physical structure of your soil. If your soil is compacted or lacks organic matter, it will start to dry out faster than usual. Without the shimmer of fresh fertilizer, the leaves might lose that deep, artificial, neon green glow and settle into a more natural, matte olive green. Watch the edges of the leaves. If they start to yellow or curl now, it's not because the plant is dying of hunger. It's a sign that the roots are too shallow to find the nutrients that are likely already in your soil, just a few inches deeper. The soil is telling you, I'm too hard, I'm too tight, the roots can't move. Week 3, the return of the underground. By day 21, something magical happens in a healthy garden. You'll notice the macro life returning. Dig a tiny hole just 2 inches deep near the edge of a bed. Are there worms? Are there tiny white threads of mycelium fungus weaving through the mulch? If you see earthworms moving back into the root zone, it's a sign that the soil is no longer toxic from high salt concentrations. Worms hate synthetic salts. They dry out their skin. Their return is a standing ovation from the ecosystem. You might also notice the soil smells different. Instead of smelling like nothing or smelling slightly metallic, it starts to smell like the forest floor. That earthy scent is called geosmin, produced by Actinomycetes bacteria. It is the smell of a factory reopening for business. Week 4, the verdict, day 30. Look at your plants. Scenario A, the plants are still green, standing tall, and perhaps even producing more flowers or fruit than before. Verdict, your soil is a powerhouse. You've been wasting money on fertilizer. Your soil has a functional nutrient cycle. It can take organic matter and turn it into plant food without your help. Scenario B, the plants look pale, growth has stunted significantly, and they seem tired. Verdict, your soil is addicted. It has become a sterile medium. The workers, microbes, are either dead or dormant because they've been replaced by chemicals for too long. This is your wake-up call. Your garden isn't a system, it's a customer. The critical lesson, soil strength versus soil wealth. To truly understand the results of your 30-day experiment, we have to redefine what strong soil actually means. In our modern consumer culture, we've been conditioned to think that strong soil is soil that is full of fertilizer. We treat soil like a gas tank. If the needle is on empty, you just pour more in. But that is the definition of soil wealth, not soil strength. Wealth is temporary. It can be spent, it can be leached away by a heavy rain, and it can be lost. Strong soil, on the other hand, is a self-sustaining biological engine. It is not just a container for nutrients, it is the factory that creates them. Think about the ancient forests of the Pacific Northwest. No one has ever walked into those woods with a bag of 10-10-10 fertilizer. No one is monitoring the pH levels of the Amazon rainforest with a digital probe. Yet these are the most productive, vibrant, and massive displays of biomass on the planet. Why? Because they have a functional nutrient cycle. In a forest, death fuels life. A fallen leaf isn't waste. It's an energy packet. The fungi break it down, the bacteria refine it, and the trees reabsorb it. It is a closed-loop system of infinite reinvestment. When we fertilize with high-intensity synthetics, we aren't just feeding the plant. We are actually disrupting this ancient loop. When a plant gets free nitrogen from a bottle, it stops producing the carbon-rich sugars, exudates that it usually pumps into the soil to feed beneficial fungi. Those fungi, specifically the mycorrhizae, are the plant's internet. They extend the root system by hundreds of times, mining for phosphorus and water in exchange for those sugars. By fertilizing, you effectively tell the fungi, we don't need your services anymore. The fungi die off or go dormant. Now your plant is a trust fund, baby. It has plenty of wealth, but it has lost the ability to work for its own survival. The 30-day mark reveals whether you have built a resilient ecosystem or a fragile dependent colony. If your plants wilt or turn yellow the moment you stop feeding them, it's a sign that the biological machinery of your soil has rusted over. You haven't built a garden, you've built a cage. The paradigm shift, feed the soil, not the plant. So what do we do if the 30-day test reveals that our soil is struggling? If your plants look pale and tired, the instinctual reaction is to run back to the garden center and buy the biggest bag of fertilizer you can find. But that's just going back to the drug that caused the dependency in the first place. Instead, we need a complete paradigm shift. From this day forward, we must commit to one rule. Stop feeding the plant and start feeding the soil. When you feed the plant, you are looking for short-term visual gratification. You want a bigger tomato now, regardless of the cost to the environment or the long-term health of the dirt. But when you feed the soil, you are acting as an investor in the infrastructure of life. You are building a bank account that pays compound interest for decades. The Feed the Soil blueprint, compost as the biological spark. Like we discussed with the Amish methods, compost is the ultimate biological starter kit. It is so much more than nitrogen and phosphorus. It is a living community. When you add a layer of compost, you are re-inoculating the soil with the workers, the bacteria, protozoa and nematodes that were killed off by years of chemical use. Carbon is the currency. Bare soil is dying soil. In nature, the earth is always covered. When we leave soil exposed to the sun, the ultraviolet rays bake the microbes to death. By using brown materials like wood chips, straw, or shredded leaves, you are providing the raw carbon that fungi need to build their networks. This isn't just mulch. It's the slow-burn fuel that keeps the soil engine running during the winter. Root diversity. Every plant species attracts a different neighborhood of microbes. If you only grow one crop, you only support one type of biology. By planting a diverse range of vegetables, flowers, and cover crops, you create a vibrant metropolis underground. Imagine your soil as a financial system. Synthetic fertilizer is a high-interest payday loan. It gives you a burst of cash today, but it destroys your credit and eats away at your collateral, the organic matter in your soil. Organic matter in biological gardening, however, are like a diversified retirement fund. It starts slow. You might not see the massive growth in the first month, but after a few years, the system generates so much natural interest that you can stop depositing money altogether. You become an observer of abundance rather than a servant to a demanding, hungry garden. Beyond the 30 days, listening to the truth. The 30 days are up. You've looked at the leaves, you've smelled the earth, and you've counted the worms. What did you hear? If your garden struggled, don't be discouraged. Be grateful for the truth. Now you know where the work needs to be done. You know that you need to stop buying medicine and start building health. And if your garden thrived, congratulations. You have achieved what the Amish have known for centuries. Nature is standing on your side. You've realized that the best thing a gardener can often do is get out of the way. Gardening is one of the few places in our modern, frantic lives where we are forced to be patient. We can't download a harvest. We can't app store a healthy ecosystem. The soil operates on its own clock, and it speaks in a very quiet voice. By stopping the fertilizer, you finally turn down the noise. You stop the shouting of the chemical advertisements and the instant results culture. And you finally heard the whisper of the biology beneath your feet. Conclusion: the garden always tells the truth. As we wrap up this 30-day journey, I want you to remember one thing. The earth never lies. It doesn't care about the branding on the bag, the promises of miracle growth, or the price of the bottle. It only cares about balance. It cares about the ancient, sacred relationship between the sun, the water, and the life that thrives in the dark. By stepping away from the fertilizer, you are choosing to trust the wisdom of millions of years of evolution. You are acknowledging that while we can provide the environment, nature provides the miracle. This experiment is more than a gardening tip. It is a lesson in humility and observation. It teaches us that true beauty isn't forced, it is nurtured. I challenge you to try this, even if it's just in one small corner of your yard. Mark it off. Label it the silent zone. Stop fertilizing for 30 days and just watch. You might see some yellow leaves and you might see some slow growth, but I promise you, you will see the truth. And once you know the truth about your soil, you can finally stop being a consumer and start being a steward. You will finally start growing a garden that doesn't just look healthy, a garden that is healthy, resilient, and truly alive. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the soul of the soil. If this perspective shift resonated with you, I'd love to hear your results. Did your soil thrive? Did it crash? What did the worms tell you? Share your 30-day story in the comments below. We're all learning to listen together. Keep your hands dirty, your mind open, and remember, build the soil and the plants will take care of themselves. I'll see you in the next one. If this journey into the hidden life of your soil has changed the way you look at your garden, please subscribe to our channel and like this video. We are uncovering the natural history that modern chemicals have tried to bury. Let's cultivate a resilient future together. The next treasure of the earth will be revealed soon.